Peace, family. Peace, this is Fleur Room coming to you this evening, some of you morning, some of you night, to get in a new topic of discussion. And when I come on late, it's usually because I have some information. So, it's going to be a little cryptic tonight. I hope you get it. There's some intel that came in, so I thought I'd come to the family and let loose the truth, the Kraken. So I hope everyone's checking in. Make sure when you come into the environment, make sure you put a handy dandy light just to let me know that you're all about the information and you're okay with it. And also to let YouTube know that I'm being watched and monitored as well, because they like to make my videos disappear and sometimes shut me down. So this way, if enough people put enough likes usually it's a little harder for them to get by on doing their diabolicalness. It's always nice to have a lot of witnesses. So check on in. So peace to the east, the west, the north, and the south. It's that kind of evening. This 2020, remember today is 2020. If you didn't know, it's like the top 2020. So, and also it's MK Ultra Day because, a lot of people who are still suffering from Stockholm syndrome actually acknowledge Martin Luther King's birthday. So, I don't want to traumatize your minds so early because I will traumatize you. But, for those who are still suffering from MK Ultra, you probably celebrated this man's holiday and not even knowing anything personally about him, but, just doing it. So it is 2020. For us, it'll be only 2020 for another 27 minutes or 26 minutes. Okay. So let's get into the conversation. As much as going on environmentally, family. So many of you got a chance to see my my virus, my antivirus wear. I always come in to give you, listen, if I'm going to give you intel, I'm going to make sure it's fun, it's fabulous. And if we're going to go off this planet, we're going to go off rocking like rock stars. So many of you saw in my community pictures and on Instagram, I showed actually the mask that I had. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, I think I showed it. Did I show it to you guys? I don't know that I showed it to YouTube. I just took a picture of it for you guys. But we actually went like, oh, thank you, Elijah. I appreciate it. Mwah. Thank you for the 555. Change is among us. So for anyone, just before I start into the conversation, you saw that I had one of the masks. It's a carbon filter. I'm not going to get too deep into it because I already discussed this on Instagram. It's got the carbon filter. Many of you saw me looking like something out of Mad Max. So you see, and as you see, it goes on like this. Okay, so you see, and this has 2 filters so you can breathe out of it. This is something good to have as a staple in the house. It's really quite comfortable. I hope you're ready for everything. And, I just came out of it and I just made sure oh, snap. Oh, let me do it again. Oh, snap. Uh-oh. Where's my music? Don't play with me. Okay, so I had this on yesterday. Where's my music? I was messing with my music. Oh, goodness gracious. I hate when they mess with my music. Wait, do that to me. Here we go. See, this is so it's very comfortable. My mate, if you want to role play, get ready for the apocalypse, have your mate, dressed up in stripes. Because we're going to go into the conversation about really?
College is the way into the middle class. Mike Bloomberg will make college more affordable because we can't afford not to.
They're just ruining my whole vibe. So you can wear this. It's really cool. It's really comfortable. So you can take it off. Okay? And if it gets smart with you.
Rich the producer.
Oh. So you put this on. Oh, thank you, 777. Okay, so if you want to get a little schematic or you want to be a little fresh, okay? You want to take everybody out, make sure you have your prison break outfit on, okay, your stripes.
Stretch my hands to you.
Check out in, put a like on the video. Okay. I'm not going to spend tonight. Okay, so let me take this off. So I did this yesterday. I don't want to go too deep into it. This is, how we get down. Many of you are preppers. As you know, Fleur is like a super prepper. I'm always prepared. And, oh, mon Dieu. Calibre, mon Dieu. So this is great to have. I discussed it last night. I don't know if the video is still up on my Instagram. You can check it out. I kind of go into the depth on the importance of having this and also covering your eyes. Okay. So you're at the grocery store, Sky? Don't let them see the crazy Creole. All right, so we're going to get into the a lot of the shenanigans. There's a lot going on, family. And I wanted to make sure I came to you. Sometimes, if I come with intel right away, I want to make sure I come to you immediately and give you some information. So let me put my earrings back on. So we have an issue going on right now. Nails of mass destruction. Oh, snap. Did you get Kiki's book? Anyone who's getting Kiki's book, you already know Kiki's got the intel on Kiki Mansi. talking about the feng shui of your nails, man, she went all into it. So we're going to talk about the Draconian Prism System. Oh, thank you, my lovely. That title is everything. We are all in sync. Deep Truths. Thank you, Deep Truths. I know we are. Okay, so now realize that there's a couple things going on, family. There's a couple things going on. And again, I'm going to code the video. Please put a like on a video if you're stepping in. You know, generally I don't come on late. So if I'm coming on late, it means I'm coming with the fire. So step on in, put a handy dandy like on a video, and we're going to get it in. We're going to talk about the Draconian Prism System and how they're doing a bait and switch right now. Now, I don't know if you've covered what's happened in Virginia. They had, many of the protesters were coming in because the Second Amendment was being challenged. Even though, quote unquote, it was a Nazi kind of coded, they kind of coded with some species, racial kind of connotation to make it more of what it wasn't. Okay. And what they did is they set up shop to cause a whole big scene in Virginia. So I don't know who's in Virginia right now. We kind of touched on it last night, but I'm not going to get so much into that because that's smoke and mirrors. It's somewhere else that they're more enticed by and what they're trying to do. And we're going to go into the Draconian Prism System. And if you notice a particular rapper who's found interest in doing a lawsuit, him and another, entertainer, they are getting involved in suing the Mississippi prison system for a gentleman being killed. A couple of inmates were killed because the Mississippi, particularly one particular prison system, is very horrendous. And apparently there was a gang war, and they were going bowdy up in the prison system, and a couple of gentlemen lost their lives due to that. But it's interesting that you realize now, you know how many inmates have, let me say this. I want to give a lot of, at least some love to those who have been illy accused, falsely imprisoned, or imprisoned for crimes that should not have as much time as you do. I want to state that because what people who aren't from that world don't realize is that little brown boys get caught up in that because of the lack of, proper social engineering that disallows for them to having a proper way of thinking and fielding information, seeing that as sometimes criminal behavior is the only way that they can get come-ups or even have any resources to take care of their family or even for something for themselves. I think a lot of times we misinterpret how some of these males are stigmatized once they come out of the prison system, if in fact they're even alive to come out. So I do want to say that a lot of times, because we do have a lot of mothers on here who talk to me, daddies, also men who we know, some of them in the family who've gone to the prison system and also have given us a lot of information. So this is going to be very powerfully packed. Make sure you take notes. I don't know that I'll keep this up because even before I was going to go live, there was a lot of distractions. And whenever they do that to me, I usually know that it's something that they don't want coming out. Okay, so just putting a lot of protection and notably a little bit of that love, that motherly love that is necessary for some of the young men and women who get caught up in that school to prison pipeline and they're unable to get out of it. Okay, so we're going to talk about them and what's going on, but also to show that there is smoke. What was it? Some Y2. Oh, wait. Something else happened? Wait. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. Some Y2 editor was killed last week. A whole prepper dude. No joke. They about that life. It's really serious, family. And what you detail sometimes could in fact put you in a lot of danger. Okay. Hold on. I'm getting a lot of distractions right now. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And do know why I wanted to state that is that I think it's really quite tragic that all these years, especially from those who come from the old school hip hop era, who have notably known or been a party to the industry, who have known many brethren and many people who have literally had, they rap about it, they talk about it, they glorify that criminal status behavior, but in it itself, there isn't any notable help or assistance to those prison boys or those young women who end up getting caught up in a web that some of them claim that they were party to. So that I just want to say that, because what I see as people, quote unquote, trying to help and sue on behalf of a young man that they didn't know is also a signal being sent out to represent something. So we're going to get into it right now. Okay. So I got a code thing, so just be patient with me because I'm going to try to do things as efficiency. You guys know when I say Willy Wonka. If you don't know what it is, if you're new to my channel, please note that Willy Wonka, look to the chat. They'll tell you what that means. Sometimes I'll say the chinois, money of our francophonic famille will tell everyone what that means. You will hear me say sometimes boom. You know what that means. I use certain coding words, and tonight we're going to use one little coded song to discuss where I know that they're planning to do something. And the Draconian Prism System is about to let loose and let unleashed the super soldiers that they've been cultivating and creating and placing into the prison system, ready for this time. It's very important that you listen to this broadcast. I have some intel, and I'm going to put in a song that will give you a little bit of intel where I'm talking about. So just take a listen to. Sorry.
Hokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about.
Now, I'm not going to torture you with the entire song. That's just code. You'll know what I'm talking about in a minute when I'm speaking about somewhere. So let me just state this. The Draconian Prism System, not the prison system, the Prism System has been cultivating a certain kind of species of beings that are purposefully being bred and cultivated in order to let loose and unleash at a particular time. Now, when we're talking about the fact that they are perpetually trying to keep people from having arms, from holding up the Second Amendment, almost creating all these false narratives, these false flags in order to create more fear. Hawaii also had, I think it was 3 officers who were shot in Hawaii. Was it Oahu? I know it was in Oahu. Was it 3 officers? It was 3 officers that were shot in Oahu. So the programming has begun, and they're full on. And what they're doing now is making sure that the populace isn't prepared or even able to protect themselves during the unleashing of the super soldiers that they are holding and have been feeding to many of the prisoners that they lock in these facilities. Now, if you think that I'm ODing, now the intel is going to get a little more dramatic, but I will say this, and let me state this. This isn't to put any fear into anyone. My shares and my intel is to empower you, because we're about that life. Just like when they said they're going to bring a virus of mass destruction, what did I say? We all prep. We up our immune system, right? We make sure that we take care of ourselves, and we make sure we share with those we love and care for. That's how we take this information. We take what we know, and we know that they're propaganding out there. We know that we aren't participating, but also we make sure that we keep our nice little shields nice and sealed tight while they're engaged in all this diabolicalness, okay? So let's go into a couple things that are very important, and this will go into, you're gonna take yourself to Africa. Africa's off the chain right now. There's a couple things going on in Africa. Make sure you have a designated place to go to Africa. Obsidian says she's out. Okay, so I'm going to give you some interesting facts, family. Okay, hold on. I'm going to give you interesting facts. Now, I know big up to everyone who's in here. I know that many people are from different states, different counties, and I want to make sure that we discuss some of the things that are pinnacle. Now, what the intel is, I can't specifically tell you outright. But what I do is I'm going to give you codes. I'm going to let you know the discussion, and this will lead you to know whatever's being planned and plotted. Now, as you know, many of the information I gave you previously is now coming to fruition. And everything I said is 1000%. So right now, I'm about to give you intel that is not really meant for you, but others know. So because I know, I'm going to share it with you. And like I said, this is for our family to make sure that my peeps are safe and mindful and know what they're planning. Okay, so the American Justice Prison holds 2.3 million people in the United States of America. Listen to me, Willy Wonka facilities have 2.3 million people held in Willy Wonka's system. People, hold on. 1,719 state prisons. So there's 1,719 state prisons. Listen to the number, family. That should concern you. 1,000. This is federal. These are state prisons. Okay, we're not going to go into the private because that's a whole nother sector. 1,719. Okay, prisons in the states. There's 109 federal prisons. There's 1,772 juvenile. Now, what's interesting to me, I don't know if you realize this, 1,772, that means they have more juvenile facilities than they actually have state prisons. That should bother you, that they make more money and they create more facilities for young folk than they have for adults. That says something about the society that thinks that is creating a host of children that are becoming criminals before they even make it to a full-blown prison system. Okay, the facilities, the faculties have 3,163 local jails. Okay, now if you didn't know this, I don't know if we have any of our Colorado people on here. Any of our Colorado, big up to all of those from Colorado. Whoop, whoop. Colorado, you just happen to have in Florence, you happen to have the most violent, most insanely violent criminals held in Florence, Colorado. Do you realize that? Do you also realize it's called Supermax, which I didn't even know existed? They have in Florence, Colorado, they have the most dangerous prisoners ever locked in Florence, Colorado, and it's called Supermax. Atlanta, you are the second place where you have several. Atlanta, you have several maximum prison, very dangerous places with the tightest controls. You have Atlanta, Leavenworth, Lompoc, Marion, Hazleton, and Marion, okay? I'm going to tell you why this is important, family. I want everyone on here to take note. Just take note, because I'm about to share something that's going to keep you on your toes, okay? So listen to what I said. They have that many. Now, we're not talking about privatized prisons because that's a whole nother number. But we're going to talk about Willy Wonka's, because Willy Wonka's is the one that's notably the one we should be watching, okay? So we have Illinois, you have the penitentiary in Thompson. Pennsylvania, you have Allenwood Penitentiary. Georgia, you have, it's called the Atlanta, what is it called? It's just called the United States Penitentiary. That's what it's called. California, you have the U.S. Penitentiary, Atwater. Kentucky, you have Big Sandy. Texas, you have Vermont, and just hold Vermont into consideration, okay? Whoever's in Texas, make sure you have Vermont. Pennsylvania, you have Cannon. Florida, we have Penitentiary Coleman, 1 and 2. Colorado, again, you have Florence, which is ADX. It's federal, but it's a supermax, okay? West Virginia, you have Hazleton. Virginia, you have Lee. Kansas, you have Leavenworth. Pennsylvania, you have Lewisburg. California, you have Lompoc. Illinois, you have Marion. Kentucky, you have McCreary. Louisiana, you have Pollock. Indiana, you have Terre Haute. Arizona, you have Tucson. And California, you have Victorville. Okay, those are, and then they have the medium. Now, the medium, they have lesser prisons, more medium, more lower security facilities. And you also have that in Alabama. You have Alabama, Aliceville. Pennsylvania, you have Allenwood low. Pennsylvania, again, Allenwood medium. Kentucky, you have Ashland. Texas, you have Bastrop. West Virginia, you have Beckley. Texas, you have Vermont. Vermont, please hold that in consideration. I'm going to tell Texas to hold that. North Carolina, you have Butner. Florida, you have Coleman. Maryland, you have Cumberland. Connecticut, you have Danbury. California, you have Dublin. South Carolina, you have Edgefield. Ohio, you have Elkton. If you live in these states, you should be writing these down because when I go over it, you're going to be like, wow. Colorado, you have Englewood. South Carolina, you have Instill. New Jersey, you have Fairtown. Colorado, you have Florence. Florence just keeps coming up. Arkansas, you have Forest City. New Jersey, you have Fort Dix. Many people know about Fort Dix. Illinois, Greensville. West Virginia, you have Hazleton. California, you have Harlong. Georgia, you have Jessup. Texas, you have Tuna. California, you have Lompoc. Pennsylvania, Loretta. California, Manchester. Florida, Mariana. West Virginia, McDowell. Pennsylvania, McKean. Tennessee, Memphis. California, Mendota. Florida, Miami. It's called just Miami. Miami, Michigan, Millen. West Virginia, Morgantown. Louisiana, Oakland. New York, Otisville. Wisconsin, Oxford. Illinois, Perkin. Virginia, Petersburg. Arizona, Phoenix. Louisiana, Pollock. New York, Raybrook. Arizona, Safford. Minnesota, Sandstone. Pennsylvania, Schuylkill. Texas, Seagoville. Oregon, Sheraton. Alabama, Talladega. Florida, Tallahassee. California, Terminal Island. You got a terminal island in California? Wow. Make sure if you're living in these areas, make sure you write what I give you down because it's going to be pinnacle to when I give you the intel. Texas, you have Texarkana. Texas, also you have Three Rivers. Tucson in Arizona. California, Victorville. Minnesota, Westica. South Carolina, Williamsburg. Mississippi, Yazoo City. Okay? Private correctional institutions. I could go into that. I want to stay with the hold on. Okay. I'm just going to give you this real quick because I just realized it's necessary for you to know this. These are the private correctional facilities, okay? Some of these were supposed to be phased out. So 2017, this was the last list. Make sure you keep that in mind. Adams County Correctional Center. This is in Natchez, Mississippi. The operator is Core Civic. This is a private prison system. You have Big Spring Correctional Center, Big Spring, Texas. This is important. Texas, please make sure you write that down. GEO Group controls that. D. Ray James Correctional Institution, Folkestone, Georgia. GEO Group controls that. Why would someone put their name on a prison system? Do you see how egregious that is? Why would you put your name on why would you even want your name assigned to a prison? Isn't that crazy? I'll tell you what the significance is in a moment. If you live in those areas, I want you to mark them down just for now. Eden Detention Center, Eden, Texas, that's important. Coreville, Core Civic, who also owns the one in Mississippi, is in control of that one. McRae Correctional Institution, McRae, Helena, Georgia. Core Civic controls that one. Moore Shannon Valley Correctional Center, Phillipsburg Center County, Pennsylvania, GEO controls that. Even though Phillipsburg is in New Jersey, most people know it's on the border of Pennsylvania, over next to Easton, Pennsylvania, if anyone knows that. Otero County Prison Facility in Sharp Parroll, New Mexico. This is a big deal. That's by Management and Training Corporation. Reeves 1 and 2 Correctional Institution, Pecos, Texas. Please, those in Texas, make sure you do that. That's by GEO. And also Reeves 3 is controlled by Pecos in Texas, GEO Group. Rivers Correctional Institution, Winton, North Carolina, GEO Group. Taft Correctional Institution, that's in California, Management and Training Corporation. Okay, why is it important that I stated this? I'm going to tell you in a minute. Hold on. I want to make sure. Now, mind you, family, I can't go through the there's other facilities. There's actual local jails. There's a lot more known in these. There's also, they don't have some of the other jails that we know in Valhalla in New York. Interesting enough, hold on. A little interruption. Hold on one second, family. Interesting enough, they don't have Rikers Island on here. They don't have a couple of the other prison systems that we know about, and there's a reason why they have kept these off the list, and I'll bring that up in a moment. Okay, so hold on. Okay, family. So I named a couple of the different prison systems. I named some of the private ones. I named most of the federal prisons that are listed. Some you will not notice that Chicago, Illinois was not on there. I think we had one Illinois. There were several different prisons that are actually in Chicago, and I think it's broken down into different tiers too. We're talking about a lot of these are maximum prisons that I'm talking about. Now, why I wanted you to write this down as it's relative to you, and if you live in these states, to see how far a distance you live from these prisons. Okay. Now, if you are someone who Rikers is sold, okay, so I'm late. Rikers is sold. Thank you. Take 515. So it's sold. So Rikers is not there. So it wasn't on there. Silverwater, I did in Stillwater. I did mention Stillwater. There was a couple not mentioned. Okay. Fort Dix. I did mention Fort Dix. Okay. So I wanted to let you know that what's going on in the illumination of them trying to get people to take arms away. Also, this coded language and coded behavior by two particular pinnacle rappers, one that is not even in the industry anymore, who's taken note and also consideration and has made it public that they are suing the Mississippi jail prison system for men losing their lives in Mississippi. Now, many of you may think, oh my gosh, I did mention Stanford. Stanford was the one in Connecticut, whoever's asking. Nevada, I think I did put Nevada on there. Colorado, I put in there several times. Colorado is also it's also a big deal. And Texas, I made sure I noted Texas, that you were to write this down, because I've told you before, and I will tell you again, that I personally know, notice the words I use, I personally know that it's smoke and mirrors in one arena and it's going after a bigger fish in another one. And the Draconian Prism System is set up to do the final sweep previous to the pole shift. And everything on Earth, planet Earth, and globally is going batty. It's going ape-ish. And what you're noticing is they're creating all kinds of coups and all kinds of viruses, earthquakes, floods, snowstorms, shootouts, all kinds of calamities to cause people to go crazy. But if you stay focused and you know the game, and you realize that this is a holographic system meant to create certain narratives in order to create people's movements, to predict their movements so that they can gain whatever the agenda is, then you know that we're all good in the hood. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Okay. So why give you a list of the different prison systems? And I will let you know is that there is some intel that when everything hits the fan, literally, that there will be a release of the prism. Listen, I said prism, the Draconian Prism, and these super soldiers will be unlocked to go out and create havoc. Now, I don't know if anyone got a chance to see the show, The Purge, the actual Purge, the TV series show. If you get a chance, you'll see what I mean. And they're beta testing you by making you watch these shows. And remember, the universe has to tell you what they do at the time you do it. That's part of the universal law. So what they do is they show what they're going to do previous to that. And what you have to know is that there is a setup to deplete the number of people that are going to be on the surface of the planet. And in order to do that, they knowing that the majority of people are not as complicit anymore. You notice that many people, Coconut Jive, it snows in the mountains in Cali. Oh, I think you guys are talking to each other. They know that we aren't as complicit. So what they're doing is they're putting their stake, they're playing all their cards. And one of them that I have intel is that they are going to, Willy Wonka and his League of Doom have already set it up that they're unleashing these draconian super soldiers into the populace when the time is right. And this suing is going to cause a fear. Now, the suing, which is interesting, is causing a fear of those who are already stressed and taxed. Because if you notice, Mississippi, if you get a chance to look at the news, I didn't get a chance to watch it all, but if you look at the news, if you get a chance to look at the news, you'll look at what they're saying about Mississippi, how it's low staff, that they didn't have enough funding for it, so that this is happening because there wasn't enough guards watching. I don't know what the guards are called, what they called, whatever the guards are called. The guards weren't watching, the things were happening. This suing by a big multi-million-dollar hip-hop mogul is going to cause a rippling effect, family. And you know how it's going to cause a rippling effect? This intel is fire in the yard. You know how it's going to cause a rippling effect? You think that the prison systems are already taxed with underfunding, understaffing? What it will do is it's going to set forth a reverberation of fear amongst all the privatized prisons. And they will be fearful of being under the same kind of perhaps lawsuit by big people with big money. So they're going to go in alignment to try to condense a lot of these prisons, and some of them will drop the ball. They will literally say they can't do it anymore, and they will start to either go bankrupt. They will no longer have enough housing, and those other prisons that are comfortable and appropriately occupied will now have extra company, because some of the privatized companies don't want to get that kind of liability or have that kind of, because they're going to follow the fear, because it's a fear tactic. So what it's doing is it's going to put pressure on an already pressurized system that's about to blow up anyway. So why I wanted to give you this, and I can't specifically, you should know where I'm going with this. Please follow the Yellow Brick Road. I'm giving you the Yellow Brick Road. I don't want anyone texting me, but like, can you tell me specifically? I don't want you contacting me on Proton saying, can you tell? I'm giving you as much as I should, and that's safe for me to give you. You need to hear and look up where all of the privatized prisons are and where all the federal prisons are. You need to see and align where you're located in the schematics of that. If you are located within 20 to 30 to 50 miles of those prison systems, I would say you need to make sure that you have a line of protection and take care of yourself, and maybe even want to relocate so you're not in clear distance of something that might collapse during the calamities. There is a setup, family, and you are seeing all of the ducks, everything going in a row. And what looks like it's one way is actually something in another way. Now, Texas, Vermont, you need to be concerned. Don't ask me how, where, or what, but Vermont and Texas, there is some concern of that particular facility. Now, what I will say to you is, though it looks like Virginia is on Front Street, that was not the target. That was not the target. That was the lure. That was the fishing lure on one side, while something's going on. And then you have Mr. Head Mogul going after facilities, causing pressure. And then you have these rich people that don't want to be poor and already are stressed and taxed, and they don't want to be sued, and they don't want to be filed with regulations that they can't even hold up to. So there will be a pressure cooker. It's all pressure cooking. And you know what happens to a pressure cooker when it goes over? It will soon implode and explode. Okay? So I just wanted to let you know that there are entities, and part of the intel is that the Draconian, that's why they call it the Draconian system. If you noted, when they were talking about Mr. Mogul, Mr. Head Mogul from another time zone, he's not even from our timeline. He's come from the future or from the past. I don't know where he's come from, but he's not from our world. He's about to cause pressure. And you think it's noble, but best believe if it was noble, how come hip hop heads weren't creating their own prison systems to help young men? How come with all of the money that all of these so-called rich, healthy, over-the-top millionaires and billionaires, how come they aren't opening facilities, giving alternatives to the pipeline prison systems? They can open privatized prisons. Why aren't they opening places where young boys can get taken care of? They can get spiritual help. They can get some psychological help. They can do some yoga, some meditation. They can take, especially the lesser crimes where they're just selling. They can get training for jobs. Why don't you open up privatized systems for young people so that they have alternatives than thinking that they have to do slight crimes just to survive, Mr. Super Mogul? Why aren't we doing that? Why are we suing for something that's already occurred by some people that already had that set up to do something else? We have young people. Did you listen to the numbers? Wait, I just want to, maybe I'm just excited. Maybe I'm just old fashioned, but let me read this to you again, family. Hold on. Let me give you the numbers again. What happened to my numbers? Oh, hold on. Let me give you my numbers again. Do you realize, family, I said there is 1,719 state prisons. Why is there 1,772 juvenile facilities? So you're telling me that we have more little people committing crimes than adults? What do you think those little people, when you put them in prisons with mentally ill psychopaths and draconian nightmare reptilians that are horrific, that don't have empathy, what do you think is going to become of these little boys and little girls? What do you think will happen to a child that is put in a jail cell with psychopathic children that aren't even human, and then they're exposed to trying to protect themselves? So them trying to protect themselves changes their mind and their chemistry, and then they come out as animals, and then you wonder why they end up in prison later. So why is it that you're handed, please don't give props to these entities, these billionaires, millionaires that are going to create smoke screens to do an agenda. Don't you dare give them props for suing a facility that should have been doing this job, and it shouldn't have even had these young men or men being able to be hurt like that. That's their responsibility. Why are you engaged in that? Are you from Mississippi, Mr. Mogul? What is your stake in Mississippi? How come you didn't help boys in Rikers when you rapped about it, right? When we rapped about Rikers, what about the young men in Rikers, right? When you were already rich? What about those young men? What about the young men in Valhalla, New York, and Pennsylvania and Philly system that were already locked up that some of you men from? Why are you interested in Mississippi? Why there? Because it isn't real. It isn't real. It's a pressure cooker. You sue one and they'll win. You sue one on behalf of a family because it's all, everyone watches social media and everyone thinks social media is real. And you think that this man is really an angel from heaven, though he used to punch girls in the face at places for taking pictures. Yes, he did. This is a man accused of raping young women. Yes, it was accusations, allegedly. But you're telling me that someone that rich could care for someone in Mississippi? Why? What say you? What reason? Why aren't you opening up a facility and giving the judges alternatives and say, listen, judge, we as a hip hop community who always discuss drug abuse, talk about selling drugs, propaganda and killing and murdering people, we decided to do our due diligently, karmically, and open up facility alternatives, privatize, that would recondition these young men and give them opportunities to be able to be consistent and healthy people so that they don't have to go into the privatized draconian system and get let loose with animals and genetically homogenize species of super soldiers so they can feed on these young men and destroy their minds and spirit and then set them out in the world and expect them to be successful. What say you, hip hop Mongol? Where are you? 444. You want to talk about the matriarchal beauty of our future? What about you? Hold on, family. I'm hot right now. All right, I'm hot. Okay. Oh, I'm hot. Let me take a moment. Let me take a moment. Woo! Okay, hold on.
Stretch my hands to
Breaks
you.
the producer.
Stretch my hands to you. Stretch my hands to you. Father, I stretch my hands to you. Stretch my hands to you. Father, I stretch my hands to you.
Woo! Fire in the yard, fire in the yard. Big up to everyone in the house. Please put a handy dandy like. We have 480 people. If you want to continue, if you want Florida to continue her rant and her intel, by all means, just put a considerate like on the video. I would so appreciate it. So, all right, family, let's get into it. So this is what I have to say. I want each one of you, 480, well, there's people in the bushes. So like, for all those in the bushes, don't put any likes. For all those not in the bushes, put the likes, okay? For all the bushies and the bushels and those hiding in the bushes, I know some of you. And you can hate, but you need to participate because this will affect you too. Sometimes you need to rock with the light rather than sitting in the dark, and you will learn a lesson from that in about 2.5 seconds. So let me just state this. I want each one of you, you have homework to do, family, and the intel is what I shared with you earlier. You need to see how far you are from some of these state, federal, and privatized prisons. They already have an agenda. Willy Wonka and the League of Doom has already set forth its wrath and has been geoengineering draconian hybrid super soldiers in these complex Willy Wonka systems. And they are ready, and they've been practice targeting on the innocent, some of the most innocent prisoners in these facilities. Some of these men have been killed and utilized like in pit bull fights, like in dog fights, putting weaker men in cells, in quarter cells, to be raped, to be destroyed, to be shanked, to be murdered or intimidated to the point where they don't even have their soul anymore. You are basically setting them up for failure. So best believe when you see these clowneries offering crumbs to something that they should have done years ago when it was applicable to where they said they were and what they represented, no, that isn't for that. There's about to be a pressure cooker. And when you see this lawsuit get won, because it most likely will be, you will see the intimidation factor create a trickling, a domino effect to the other complex Willy Wonka prism systems. And you will see, and oh, you think it's bad now, you will see them cave because all of them know what's coming and they're starting to bail out. And this will just be the excuse they need to exit out stage left without accountability. And then you will have how many people? How many people? 2.3 million criminals. 2.3 criminals. Majority of them are murderers. Half of them are psychopaths from living in those conditions. Do you think you are prepared to deal with that without having protection? Do you think it's appropriate? So I'm just saying, for all those who are sitting ducks on a pound of draconian alligators, you're on the lake right now, and there's a lake of draconians, okay, that have been locked away, thrown away the key. And what do you think that happens pre-pole shift? What do you think if we have World War III? What do you think happens when those facilities don't have men who will go to work because they're not being paid or they're going home to take care of their families? What do you think will happen to those systems? Do you know that 2 of those men from Mississippi had escaped? You know that, right? Okay. Why do you think it's understaffed and underpaid? Because they're pocketing all that money. A lot of these get funding, state and federal funding. They're running right now, family, and they are going to run and hide, and they will make sure they and theirs will be protected by all means with all of the things that they are trying to take from the populace of United Snakes of America. If you look at Europe now, many of our European family will tell you they wish that they had the rights that some of us have here in the States of the Second Amendment. What do you think Virginia is really about, family? What do you think that antagonizing already antagonistic bastards who already are looking for an excuse to pop off? What do you think when the pressure cooker starts pressuring and imploding in all different sides, south, west, east, and north? Where do you think that's going to happen? And where are these 2.3 million prisoners and rapists and murderers are going? Where do you think that amount of people are going? Where do you think? When I got this intel, I was blown away. Not that it wouldn't happen. That isn't shocking me. That isn't shocking me. What is disturbing is the level of non-care, of non-empathy that some of these people that you supposedly vote for, you think that your handy-dandy delegates care about you? Who did you vote for? Do you think that your congressman is going to come to your house to protect you and your family? Do you think that the Senate that sits there and gets paid egregious amounts of money to sit there and judge you and make decisions on your behalf, whether you agree or not, do you think they're going to come and offer you steak and chicken on those days when everything goes a bust? Do you think that they're sending their children abroad to go and fight wars that they know aren't really wars, that are just business decisions implemented in order to create more stimulus of finance and also extorting of other people's resources? So on MLK, on, you want me to get into, oh wait, Yafi has information. Now on Israel News, they say a mysterious virus is coming from China. Oh, wait. Okay, family. There's so much going on. I had to come on tonight. I hope you're all up for the shenanigans. Please put a like on the video if you want me to stay on for a little longer, because we're about to get in some more. There's a lot more going on. That's the intel that I just got up, but there's a follow-up to that. Thank you, Yafi. Yafi's reminding me of some more intel that I have to give you. So put a like on the video if you want me to stay on longer. This is getting hot, family. And I think we're going to have to discuss certain things so that you realize what times we're in right now. So come on in, check on in. I don't have any cherries, so I'm hostile. My mate needs to go buy me cherries so I can calm the heck down. Oh, thank you, young boss. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, Jarvis. Jarvis, how come you don't have a wrench on you? Jarvis, I'm going to give you a magic wand. Oh, thank you, my love. Thank you, Deep Truth. So many downloads in the air right now. Oh, it's on and popping. You've got your triple sash. I hope you're grateful to have your triple sash here. Some of you thought I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and maybe I am. But I will always keep it real with you. Okay, family. I've got my lights on. I have my mask. For all you're checking in today, I hope you ordered your mask. I let you know. You know, everybody else is afraid to tell you. Listen, I'm about this life. Nobody else will tell you how to protect yourself. They'll just tell you to sit down like yoga time. You know what's so crazy with me? Oh, hold on. Okay. You know what's so crazy? There are so many people afraid to cover these things. I give props. I want to give props to all those that are unfazed. You know what's so crazy? You have all these channels sitting around acting like nothing's going on. Oh, there's energetic pulses in the air, and there's this. No, no, yes, there's all kinds of energy, but yoga time is going to have a knock at the door from Mama Apocalypse. Yoga Tom is making green smoothies right now, and he doesn't realize Mama Apocalypse is pissed off, and she's gonna knock at his door. She's got the League of Doom with her. This is insanity. We've got it. Listen, part of you being proactive and self-love is not ignoring the obvious. There's people sitting up here acting as if mentioning something to help. If you really want to help people, please don't ignore the obvious things. You don't have to be a party to it, but to sit there and act like it's not happening, it isn't going to make it go away. It will only allow people to be in the dark and disallow them from helping. Oh, MLK. Okay, thank you, Monica. Monica had to bring me back. Sorry, Monica. Okay, so do you really want me to go into... I don't want to destroy... Do you guys want me to do this? I don't want to destroy your thought of... Do you guys really love Martin Luther King? Because I don't want to destroy that thought in your head. Because Monica, if I go on to what I think or my personal opinion about Martin Luther King, y'all are going to think I'm horrific. Because listen, family. The MK Ultra, the Stockholm syndrome is real. Listen, Martin Luther King, that whole martyring, that whole MK Ultra, he represents MK Ultra. He is a representation of the ongoing Stockholm syndrome pattern of propaganda that is meant to keep you enslaved. It is perpetual. So they make these slave brown men that were murdered. They don't even have holidays of lunar men that are murdered to that degree and martyred. The man was not what you thought. I'm gonna go left, family. I hope you're ready. Thank you, my love, Denise. Thank you, y'all want me fire in the yard. This man wasn't even faithful to his own wife. You worship a man that was not even healthy in his own dynamics. He was a martyr. He is like those on a slave plantation, the good Negro that was always trying to do the right thing and sat and allowed his people to be martyred by being spat on and walking in the pits of fire. It wasn't him why everything happened. It was everything. The reason why the only reason that they stopped doing half of the horrific things is because they lost money from people not taking buses. I don't want to go. Y'all gotta have me go left. He was not what you think he was. He was part of the occultists. He was not part of that. If you listen to what's his name? He just passed away. Oh, he went left on him. He was having affairs with multiple women. Y'all put somebody on a pedestal and don't even know half of who he was. He was part of the boule, okay? And you had what's his name talking about what's his name? Who just passed? He was blowing his whole spot. Dick Gregory. Thank you, Aaron B. Dick Gregory went all kinds of ham. He was doing all kinds of darkness. He had people going up there getting arrested. People lost their homes. You don't know how many people died because of that martyrism. Listen, I won't sit idly for anyone. I won't. I will stand in truth and I will stand in my own. But darn Skippy, you won't have me walking down the street with my babies with people spitting on them. That wouldn't be something I did. So I'm sorry that many of you may be suffering from Stockholm syndrome. You want to walk with flags, with a martyr slave, a house Negro who used to get beat in front of other people to create so that they behave themselves. Oh, make those Negroes can behave themselves. Let's put a martyr on. Let's put somebody who was slain and murdered in front of a whole bunch of people. That's what they used to do. So I'm saying I'm sorry. So MK is a representation of MK Ultra. That is the ongoing Black February, the Black History Month, BL, which is Black Month. So it's just giving you a healthy dose of poison to make you hate yourself and have more self-hatred and victimhood so you can perpetually feel like you're a victim. No one is a victim. You have a right to do what you want to do on this earth. You create your own reality. This is a holographic system. If you holla and say that you're going to be the president, you too will be the president. You can co-create whatever you want. There isn't anybody standing on your neck unless you let them do it. And best believe that's why if there was a slave trade and it was people on the Atlantic, they would have all jumped off the boat. I'm sorry, I'm hostile right now. See, you all shouldn't have had me go in on MK Ultra Day because I won't have that in my household. That is something that is propaganda, and it is perpetually teaching brown people to hate themselves and keep that martyring system going. There isn't any victim on this planet. If you're experiencing prejudice, then something in you doesn't feel worthy. If you're a brown person, you should feel loved on this planet. The sun loves you if you don't love yourself. Your features are prototypes for being part of the earth. What color are the trees? The trees are brown like you. Why do you hate yourself? Why do you follow systems of perpetual lies to make you dislike yourself? It is a lie. Do not follow the standards of boules or occultists. They all have motivations and they all are. Don't think that brown people aren't occultists. Some of the worst things that happen to brown people are by other brown people. Okay, I'm sorry. Y'all, why you get me so, oh my God. Okay, I gotta calm down. Listen, I gotta calm down. Oh my God. Yo, Monica, what did you do? You unleashed the Kraken. You unleashed it. It's a lie. It's a lie. All these holidays. Why are you worshiping Martin Luther King, MK Ultra? Why are you wearing Michael Kors bags? That's part of MK Ultra. You wear the same symbols that they propaganda to you to uphold the same standard of imprisonment, of enslavement. Were you a slave? Were you sitting on the back of somebody's bus? If you didn't encounter that, stop pulling into stuff, because people flip mode when they incarnate. When you incarnate, you flip mode. So when you incarnate, if you were a lunar doing dirt back in the days, best believe you incarnated as a Negro in the hood being shot out by cops unfairly because you did dirt. So that's why I say to people, I don't care what you do. What you do is your karma. If you're a prejudiced person, if you hate brown people, if you hate lunars, you're going to come back in a degraded person to experience exactly the same thing you did. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter complexions. We will come back and we will be served the same dish that we served other people. Stop with the complexionism. Martin Luther King is MK Ultra. That is a standard propaganda for the classic Negro. What is it called? Stockholm syndrome. Stop it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Y'all got me hot and sweaty in my own house. Where's Monica? Monica, you unleashed the Kraken. You knew what you were doing. Y'all want to watch Roots every year? You remember? Remember when every year in February, Roots would come back and say, remember that? Roots would come back on and people would watch Roots. I was part of that. Every year during this time, just like in Easter, everybody's watching Jesus Christ over and over. You watching Roots, so you being perfectly reinstituted with your poison of MK Ultra and traumatization inside of your subconscious, and then you walk around mad all year thinking that you're lesser than anyone. You aren't. You look like the trees. You look like the very thing. When I tell brown women that were they mad at their hair and their skin, I was like, you look like the trees. The same beautiful trees that you say you hug. Your skin is the same color as the soil and the tree trunk. Your hair goes up to the sun just like the trees to feed from the sun. Why would you dislike yourself? You're a progenitor of Earth. You're actually a blueprint of Mother Tiamat. So what is there hate? We got to start staying out of other people's projections. That has nothing to MK Ultra. That man was a cheater. He was sleeping with multiple women. He was getting his penis. I'm gonna sound like Tila Tequila. I'm just saying he was not what you thought he was. He wasn't. He wasn't as sweet. Not to say that he didn't have. Let me state this. Not to say that he didn't represent some good things for some brown people. He gave hope. But if you knew what he did in his own home, you would not worship the man. I won't worship any man who's sitting there sleeping with everybody who loves him. That's like us worshiping, what's his name? That's not that other clown, Umar Johnson, who was sleeping with the conscious stripper, saying that he wants women of color to keep their natural hair. He loves them being natural. He won't let them go to their school if they don't have natural hair. Meanwhile, he's sleeping with a stripper with blonde weave and, makeup of mass destruction, and he's sleeping with her. This is the kind of hypocrisy we have to be careful not to step into. That is not our business. That is not us. Watch The Skeleton Key. So just make sure you aren't stepping into other people. MK Ultra. There is no such thing as Black History Month. Do you want to be a part of Black Month? So you want to be a month where you just progenerate more self-hate, hate, and victimhood? Come on now. It's disgusting. Anyway, y'all got me. Monica, you disappeared. If y'all upset, you need to get in Monica, because Monica pop. Y'all watching. Monica just came in. She unleashed. She was like, let me trigger Flurberone. Monica was like, I'm gonna trigger her real quick. I know she's gonna go left. Let me just give her a dose. No, and I have to say that's why I say sometimes common sense. And this is where I know you're here. This is where I have to say to you, family, where I'm grateful is because I'm seasoned and I was about that hip hop world. So you get a little bit of someone who's more seasoned. I'm young and funky as far as the way my energy is, but I've been on this earth for a while, and I'm grateful to be here healthy and be able to talk to you. And I'm grateful to have witnessed things that I can see from a good, healthy distance and not be as disheartened or bitter about the things that I've experienced or actually visually seen. Okay. And because I'm a triple Sag, I will always come with truth. It's unfortunately, sometimes the truth can be hurtful and I have to hold my tongue, but I will always come out with that truth. But you have to know that a lot of the things, all these holidays, every single holiday is occult based. Why do you think on every MK Ultra Boulevard, Martin Luther King Boulevard, there's the most murders of brown children? Do the stats. I couldn't even make this up. Do the stats. On every single Martin Luther King Boulevard they created, there's the most murdered brown children ever. So you think that martyring, it is a ritual. It is a ritual to put his name up, and those are hoods. Have you ever seen a good neighborhood with Martin Luther King's name? Have you ever seen a wealthy neighborhood with Martin Luther King's name on it? You tell me, maybe I'm wrong. Anybody on here, tell me who knows a non-hood Martin Luther King Boulevard. You tell me, because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just wrong, right? Maybe I've lost my mind. Okay, so, and also if you do the stats, because you could just look it up, it's public record. Look how many people are murdered on there, especially if there's a crossroads, because many of you know the crossroads. The crossroads is where there's there's an interdimensional portal. Usually people have the most accidents on crossroads. Don't have a Martin Luther King Boulevard on a crossroad with Malcolm X. You'll have murder. Okay, so all these are occult, all the holidays are occult. We talked about Christmas. You said it's Christ's birthday. Christ was born during the harvest, if he existed. Christ is a figure. Most, and I think, someone shared this with me. Big up to Young Pharaoh, did an amazing job. These are the things I've been talking about for years and nobody listens to me. Young Pharaoh is talking to the youth. He did an amazing job breaking down Christmas. We know that. I knew Christ, quote unquote, the Christ that you think existed. He was born during the harvest. The harvest wouldn't be in the dead of winter. So why are you worshiping? So what is the incentive to worship him December 25th? Where did that come from? Do you look at the historical value of that? Why would you think it okay to have your children sit on a chunky old man's lap and tell him you give him Christmas gifts and he'll sneak in the house when everybody's sleeping? Why would a man have to sneak in the house? Okay, why can't he just knock on the door and say, surprise, I got gifts for you. Why in the night? Okay, so all these things are created in order to ritualize holidays that they worship and they do. Okay, all these are holidays. Okay, and let's go into the Chinese. He did a phenomenal job. This is why I'm saying the young scholars. A lot of you have issues with him. He's doing his due diligence. I'll just tell you what I know. I'm more seasoned, so I'm old. I'm more seasoned than young Pharaoh, so I know about this way more. So when I talk about it, I talk to a certain demographics. He's teaching the youth. Y'all listen to me, but he's talking more to the youth, more of that different generation. Okay, so it's a little different than mine. You heard me talk about this for years. He put it with facts and pictures and wonderful, and wonderful resources. I can appreciate that. And I think a lot of you need to see that. Okay, so many of you need to realize that we've been hoodwinked, lied to, smoke and mirrored. And it's just what it is. It's kind of like a game. It's like, oh, snap, you got me. All right, you got me. Okay, my bad. Okay, I'm up on it. So I know what I'm doing. No longer will you get over on me. That's all it is. That's it. Keep it going. Keep it moving. It's the same with MK Ultra. I won't teach my children about Black History Month because there doesn't exist to me. Anything Black, why would I teach my children that? Why would I even incorporate themselves in lacking? I tell them how wonderful they are. They can be and do whatever they want. They have to be self-aware, but they have to know that. And how someone feels about them hasn't anything to do with them. Anybody who's hateful of someone's complexion and is suffering from Stockholm syndrome, whether they're prejudiced or so on, they've been engineered with that type of, that type of system of prejudice or cap consciously. Those are not even real beings. Some of those are not even human beings. Some of these are just empty seaters. Some of them are just holographic inserts. So I tell my children in time, because someone feels a certain way about you or has a certain prejudice, that has nothing to do with you. That has only to do with them. Healthy, happy people aren't prejudiced. They don't care. Happy people are happy. People who are walking around hating all the time is like the swastika. The swastika is a beautiful symbol that comes from predates in India and Africa, and also, India and Africa and Asians use it. Actually, on my ring, I have a swastika. You know what they did? They ruined the 13. We took it back. They demonized the black cat. We know that it means portaling, and black cats are actually, for women especially, it means good luck. They also demonized the swastika, which and you know what's so crazy about them demonizing it? Because it's all whites had to do with that. They took over, they hijacked the swastika. They used it for the energy portals, because you know when you wear the swastika, it's powerful. It's a portaling. It actually brings in higher energy. They hijacked it to the point that if you wore it, lunar, brown, they would think you're a hater. They did it so masterfully. This is how clever these bastards are. They hijacked the swastika so masterly that they made it so you can't even touch the swastika, because they will have the Zionists accuse you of being racist and anti-Semitic. Though the majority of quote unquote Ashkenazi or Khazar Jews aren't even Semitics, because Semitics have copper skin, darker hair, curlier hair, and are from from Northern Africa, and also from parts of Yemen and all those places. Those are or from Spain. They're not even Sephardic, but they will tell you that you're anti-Semitic if you are wearing a swastika. This is what I'm saying. They're so masterful. We're just breaking the codes of everything. We're just breaking the codes. So I'm sorry. I went on a rant. Let me get some water. So China, you're not supposed to let me use that word. I gotta be careful. Xinhua, I gotta be careful. Xinhua. Who brought up the Xinhua? Xinhua, I told you my intel was on point. And big up to the bigger channels who took it on. I love you. We have some amazing channels that like to stay here. They're in the bushes, but that's okay. They took on the story, and some of them have been attacked. I think somebody's channel was actually, a couple of people's channels were attacked. Please put a like on the video if you come into the room, if you want me to stay on a little longer. So they stayed on and they took on the story. So I feel bad, but they could take the heat a little bit more. They took on the stories as well. So Xinhua has been on a thing, and I told you I broke the intel to give, because I wanted to give you the intel before anything happened, right? So if many of you see, if you're on my IG, I told you to watch the movie Contagion. Contagious? No, it's Contagion. Now, if you watch the movie, remember the movie prosperity rates, prosperity, good luck. Thank you, Film Stress. The swastika means prosperity, good luck, and good health. And look, they demonized it. So no, we should all get swastika shirts. All of us lunar and brown people should get swastika shirts. We should wear it for the New Year's. We should wear it for our New Year's. We should all lunars, brown, tan people, green people, we should all get a handy dandy swastika shirt and rock it on New Year's and just take back we got to be careful with that, because the Zionists, they're so sensitive. We should do it though, but we got to do it together, because I don't want our lunars, because the lunars, they'll get on you first. They won't mind us because they think we're hostile. To be honest, lunars, they think that brown people were hostile. We could get away with that. The lunars, they're going to come for you. So if you do it, you got to do it with us. I don't want you to, because lunars, they will come for you. The Zionists don't care about complexion. They coming for anybody wearing that. We got to do it together. Because they gonna be what? What? Anti-Semitic people wearing swastikas, whatever. You might lose your job. Yo, they no joke. Anyway, so the intel I gave you a couple of days ago that they really fought for me was true. And you saw that it was true, and I told you it was true. Now it's getting worse, and they're not denoting the numbers. I've already done, if you are on my Instagram, you know how we get down. I'm about taking care of me and mine. One thing you will know with me, anytime I have something like this, I want you to survive, I want you to thrive, and I want you to be happy, and I want you to be well. It's something I wish. I'm not a hoarder of information. I will always share with you and disseminate information as need be. A lot of us talk in the back lay, and when I get intel, one thing you will know, Flurborn is international. I have the biggest international community on my platform. I am one of the biggest international platforms in that I have a C-star in every country, every state, every city. I'm proud of that. I'm grateful, and they rock. When we get intel, it's 1,000%, because we have scouts on land. So we have our Nistas over in Chinois town. We have Nistas over in the most north, the most south, the most west, the most east. We about this life. So when someone comes, because our Nistas get the intel, and we have nurses, doctors, surgeons, we have scientists who are part of this platform. I'm part of the biggest intellectual community there is. And I'm down with the Mensa crew. So best believe when I come to you and tell you something, you could think I'm all kinds of crazy, but the people I rock with aren't. Okay, so I will say this. It's worse than it appears. Your immune system needs to be up 1,000%. I will tell you that. I attempted to do my own inoculation myself. You want to make sure that you're beefing up your system. And I gave you handy dandy shows. You know, I make jokes of it, and I love to make fashion of the things I do. I'm one of those fun preppers. You know, I'm a prepper for over 20 years. I'm one of those preppers that you'll see on the back of a bike with some nice little steel on her arm. And I'll be looking all kinds of, I'm gonna have red lipstick all through the apocalypse. I will rock, I will survive, I will supersede anything they try to come, and I will bounce out of the country. Best believe it. Okay. So I need you to be proactive. Your immune system needs to be boosted up. Check out my Instagram. My friends, my fairies on here, my handy dandy fairies, and you know, my I don't want to call the guys fairies. Because that's not a good connotation for them. You know, my friends on here who have the blue, they usually tell you where to go to for the to go to my Instagram. So just make sure you know go to my Instagram, because I'm very open, and I show you the things I do. I give you my own form of inoculation, and I show you what I do. And because I rock with a lot of nurses, a lot of naturopathic and holistic practitioners, you know, we about this life. So I get intel from all different perspectives, even Western medicine. So just know that this is something that you need to take in consideration. This is very serious. And I wouldn't tell you this if not. They're starting to do things right now that are starting to hamper. We personally think that dump on the California school was a catalyst. I think it was something that was meant to make something go aerial. That's why they put it on the schools. If you have children in school, mothers, please be proactive with the little people. Their immune systems are really good, but you want to make sure if you have a child that has a compromised immune system for whatever reason, make sure you boost up their system. Make sure you're feeding. You know, many of you know I was on Orlando show many years ago talking about mothers make breakfast for your children. One thing that I've done since my babies were babies, I make breakfast for my daughters every morning, every rising. Let me take that back. I rebuke the morning. Every rising, I make breakfast for my little ones, whether strawberries, I made crepes, raspberry crepes this morning that were all wheat-free, egg-free, dairy-free. It's yummy. I really make sure I boost up everything. You can check that on Instagram. I make sure that I keep their systems nice and beefed up, because it's necessary for you to be okay, for them to be okay. Okay. Where's oh my gosh, where is I know that I had a homie that was he was on here one day and he was talking to me. I didn't see him when he was on here. Oh my gosh, Sovereign. I think his name is Sovereign. He was the one I did the first interview when he was talking about Flacca. Oh my God. He was on here. I gotta talk to him because he really probably has intel on this. But let me say this to you, family. This is serious. And when I come to you and say something that to this degree, they are already, listen, Chinois is all over right now. I have a neighborhood that is literally changed, and they are disseminating people that aren't, I told you they sold, Willy Wonka sold the United Snakes. It's sold. Other than California, I know that Guam, thank you, Crystal. Crystal told me Guam is a territory. It's not a state. They aren't one of them, and Hawaii is not sold. But as far as I know, everything else is gone. All of the places that I know, you're starting to see Chinois in the masses. This is not to demonize anyone, but they have already disseminated. They've already sold us out. Okay, so you listen. If you're going to plan to rock it out in the United States, you need to learn the language. You need to learn the language, and you need to acclimate to the different environment. It's serious. And this is a different culture of people. And what comes with that also comes with certain other things. And I personally know, and I shared it with you earlier, there are people that are being used as hosts. Now, what I'm trying to distinguish, if you saw the movie that I told, for those who were on my Instagram, I gave you Contagion as a movie that was 2000. Thank you, Rohan. Rohan's reminded me of a movie called Contagion. And in the movie, it's very coded. Now, one thing I want to say to you, if you get a chance to see the movie, Contagion from 2011 with Jude Law, I want you to look at it from an inverted position. It is pro-vaccine. The movie was set out in 2011. That's 9 years ago. 9 years ago. Where did it start? It started in Chinois' neck of the woods. It started in Chinois' neck of the woods with pork and a bat, which is pork and chicken. They don't want to tell you chicken is pork and chicken. Why? Because you remember, I could break down the whole show. I'll do it real quick. If you go and see it, you'll see what I'm saying. If you look at the movie, they're saying it started with pork and chicken, but it's not saying chicken. They say bat. That's a lie. They don't want to tell you it's a flying, it's something with wings. They don't want to tell you it's chicken because they don't want to put that in your subconscious, because I told you chicken is a mass destruction, family. My mother, she nearly lost her mind today. Big up to my mommy. My mommy nearly lost her mind today when I said, Mommy, I'm not taking you to get chicken. She was like, why won't you take me to get chicken? I said, Mommy, there's nanobots in chicken. If I take you there, I don't love you. Wait, I told my mother, listen, my mother, big up to my Matrix mommy. Yeah, thank my Matrix mom. She's a sweetheart. Her and my daddy were the sweetest people in the whole wide world. But I tell you, my poor mother, me telling her that I wouldn't take her to get her chicken today because her chicken is a mass destruction. I said I wouldn't love you if I took you to get chicken. I won't do it. I'm not taking you to go get your chicken. I won't be taking you to Kentucky Fried Chicken, Popeye's Chicken, Church's Chicken. And then I found out that the bastards Chick-fil-A are making everything in peanut oil. Piss me off more. Chicken is on sale. Piss me off more. So anyway, in this movie, they have a bat that poops, it gets infected by a bad banana, goes and poops, infected banana that has some sort of chemical from a company, poops where a pig is, a pig eats it. They're serving pork in Chinois' world, and they all get contagious, okay? So Contagion talks about how quickly a pandemic can spread. Now, why this is important is because this was propaganda that was given to disseminate truth of what they're going to intend to do. Now, if you watch the movie, spoiler, close your ears if you don't want to hear this part, if you want to watch it. If you get bothered by people telling you what's in the movie, I'm going to tell you a part of the movie real quick. At the beginning of the movie, they tell you something. I want you to flip mode the movie because they're supposed to tell you what they're going to do at the time you do it, but they always switch the agenda. They won't tell you what the agenda is. The agenda was pro-vaccine. So what they do is create a pandemic and they make people feel like they need this vaccine. Now, Jude Law represents us. He's the blogger. He's like your Flurbrun. He's the one blowing spots, but he goes places, he blows spots. He was saying that there was a natural herb that could do what the vaccine could do. Now, notice they threw that in there, but they made him seem like he was crazy and they arrested him. But they said you don't have proof. And then they said at the end of the movie, there was 1 million people that actually did heal themselves from this natural vaccine, naturopathic remedy. Okay. So I want you to watch the movie, but it's all propaganda to promote vaccinations. Why? Is because they're giving you fear. And the people are so fearful that they're just waiting and they're waiting. They're getting these little bands on their arm to get vaccinations. Now, what's important in the movie, at the beginning of the movie, the first person who dies is the wife who comes back from Chinois' neck of the woods. She was on business doing dirt with some man, right? So she comes back, and in the hospital, they ask her husband, does she have any food allergies? It was very interesting that they said, oh, she's allergic to penicillin. What did I tell you about sulfur? It's amazing that they put the person who has an allergy to sulfur. That's why I say they flip mode it. That's allergic to sulfur. So it makes me think that those who have an allergy to sulfur actually will be the ones with an immunity. Why? Is because of the way they placed her in that movie. When they do that, they bait and switch. So the fact that they mentioned that made me think that people who have a sulfur sensitivity might be the very people who have an immunity. Remember, it's very important for you to know that whenever they have pandemics, they have people who are genetically have a genetic advantage, because usually most geoengineered viruses are geared towards going at specific people. Look at the people who are passing away from this virus, see if they match you phenotype wise, and see if they have anything similar to you, and then you'll see who's being geared towards who's being targeted. Okay, so I just noticed that was my personal opinion. I felt like they were doing that purposefully to say that the people who had sulfur sensitivities would be the ones who would be sick. I think it's the opposite. It's just that's what I think. Because the first thing he said is, my wife is allergic to penicillin. So, everything is relative that they put in there. So remember I told you when I was twinning and I was around my twins, sulfur was a big deal for me because I'm allergic to sulfur and it was always coming about. Sulfur also has to do with volcano eruptions, places where there's a lot of sulfur. And big up to the crazy woman who cursed me out, told me I don't know what I'm talking about with sulfur. She called me a liar. She said I'm an idiot. What did she say? She said I'm an idiot. I said sulfur. How could I possibly avoid all sulfur? I said I have a sulfur sensitivity, woman. A sensitivity. I have an allergic reaction to sulfur. It doesn't matter if sulfur comes in your hair or my body creates it, just like I was allergic to copper, woman. I was hypersensitive to copper because I have a lot of copper in my blood. I didn't know that until I went for a copper test and found out that on my bloodstream, I'm an O positive. I happen to have a lot of copper in my own bloodstream. I don't need to put copper on me. When I do, it poisons me. It's the same with people who are sensitive to certain things. Sometimes they have it in them already, and if they get too much of it, it's a poison. So like people are allergic to sulfur. So you're telling me, I said I avoid most things with sulfur. I probably can't avoid everything, but I do. If it's in foods, I avoid it. Woman. She cursed me out. She said I was an idiot because I said I don't eat anything with sulfur. I don't eat broccoli like that. It has a lot of sulfur. I don't mess with certain things that have a lot of sulfur because I can't eat it. I'm sensitive to it. That's all. You're allergic to copper too? I'm allergic to copper. I didn't know. I was poisoning myself by wearing copper bracelets because when I went and I had copper toxicity, I was using copper. What was I using? Colloidal copper, to as a astringent for my face because it's phenomenal. And then I was wearing the bracelets and I had toxic copper poisoning. And I have a lot of copper in my blood already. The doctor said, you don't need copper. You have a lot of copper. Most people don't have that in their bloodstream, a lot of that. You're allergic to penicillin and copper? Oh, snap. My people are coming out. Anyway, watch the movie Contagion. And also another movie that I watched again was obviously The Knowing. The Knowing, I mentioned I watched that like 2 weeks ago. Again, The Knowing has a lot of truth in it too. You see, the connection to what goes on globally, the energy's coming in, a mass coronal ejection. So mass coronal ejection is coming to the earth, causes problems. They take the children away. That's also a good movie. A lot of gems in there, a lot of things going on. So but there's a lot of people here with penicillin allergies. Oh, snap. We got a lot of, what's going on? Are we all part of the same? Maybe we're all part of the same species on here. What are the copper side effects? I had heart palpitations, foggy, like my head was foggy, dizziness, rashes, hives coming up, things like that. I just felt really sick. And I went in and I was copper poisoned. Knowing with Nicolas Cage was very, very good. So if you want to go check out that movie again, a lot of these things you got to be careful with because they're trying to create. Now listen, family, you already know my answer. I'm a prepper. I'm a contactee of many different groups of extraterrestrials and interterrestrials and interdimensionals. I am. But one thing that I know that will happen is the pole shift will happen, whether you accept it or not. I remember 6 years ago, I told you all this would occur, and many of you thought I was crazy. I also told you that we're going in home court advantage of the women on the planet, and that all of the characters in TV will be changed into women. All of these movies will be shapeshifted into women. Even if you go to Universal, if anybody goes to Disney and you've gone on the Pirates of the Caribbean, anybody going to Pirates of the Caribbean in Disney, many of you who've gone on years ago noticed that all the pirates were only males. They changed it to a woman being one of the pirates. They've already changed everything to add the new home court advantage of the women on the planet. The matriarchy holds it. That's why that bastard who made our story 444, remember, what was it called? The family. He told our story, the family reunion, what is it called? Family Feud. That mogul, that rapper mogul made a story. It pissed me off because I felt like, how dare you tell our story? But that is a true testament of what happens to us in the future. It will be the matriarchs who take over. Now, personally, there's a couple of theories of what will happen. I think there's going to be a couple of things that go on. And I know there were a couple of males that were very disturbed that I called them out. Sometimes some of the Hebrew Israelites will come for me because I won't subjugate to, going underneath them. Let me just state this. And I will say it, and I got hot on IG last night. Let me explain something. Alpha males there's all these males online calling themselves alpha males. I'm going to go in again. Just like you had me go on MKO. Do you guys not want to hear this? I won't go into if you don't want me to talk about the alpha males, because I went off last night because they just pissed me off for the 20,000th time. You said go off on them? Okay. Release the Kraken. I'm just tired of these pseudo-conscious calling themselves alpha males online. Let me explain something. You aren't an alpha male if a woman takes care of you, if she pays your bills, if she's carrying you, if she's the one doing everything in the household, and you just basically stick your wand in her and act like you should be worshipped like a god and be served and cleaned and worshipped. You aren't an alpha. Alphas aren't punks like that. Alphas aren't. That's not even beta behavior. You have a lot of these pseudo nasty sociopathic males on here calling themselves alphas who are always asking for handouts for a woman, always standing on the back and the neck of a woman and saying they're alphas. Alphas aren't that. Alphas are real men. They're real men. Alphas don't sleep with other men. Okay, so alphas are men that don't let other men touch them. Number one, let's just state that. That's a fact. Alphas are very manly. Now a healthy alpha is a strong man. He takes care of everything. He can bring resources in, and he makes sure that he protects his family. A real alpha doesn't allow for his child's mother to be abused, for her to be subjugated by anybody else, doesn't leave his family or children to allow them to be subjugated to any harm or inception, because an alpha always stays close to his village and his family. He is a progenitor of tribal base. He's very protective of his mother. This is a true male. We don't have them because all of the estrogen, all of the league of water and fluoride has pacified a lot of the males. So you have these pseudo males thinking because they have a wand that they could work and stick in a woman that they can just call themselves an alpha. No, alphas are hardworking. Now, even an unhealthy alpha still represents a real, strong, virile man that is protective of his unit. These males out here who are taking money, handouts from their mother, their sister, their cousin that's a female, their baby's mother, their wives, these aren't alphas. Stop it. Stop calling yourself alphas. That's not healthy. Even betas have better dispositions. Betas at least are the corporate base. These are the doctors, the attorneys. The betas go to work and they bring home resources and they pay for alphas to come to their house and fix up their house. An alpha can build a village and he can command the respect of other men around him. He isn't a follower. He is a leader. Even an unhealthy alpha will lead. Well, he lead, his tribe to doom, but he's a healthy leader. These males out here are lying, and you young sea stars need to be up on it. If he's asking you for money, he isn't an alpha. If he's expecting you to take care of everything, put your name and insurances, that isn't an alpha. These alphas are liars. Okay, these pseudo alphas, that's not an alpha. We don't have many of them, and a lot of them get locked up to be thrown away the key. The betas are, the best. Betas actually are better than some of these pseudo alpha males. Some of these pseudo alpha males are more gammas than anything else. So I'm sorry, I had to go in on some, these males going around saying, "Oh, Fleurbron, you need to come and service us, and we can help." No, you can't do anything for me. Your wand barely works because you're eating too much estrogen, because your mind is confused. You can't do anything for me. I have a real alpha. He's that dude. And I bet you if you come anywhere near me, you will see what an alpha really represents. Y'all need to stop it and leave my young sea stars alone. They may not know better, but mama knows better. And I will tell them what you are. Stop asking them for money and to take care of. You need to take care of yourself. If you can't even secure your own base and do for yourself, why are you trying to get more females? Disgusting. You just want to impregnate them and leave them and let other men come in, and then you talk about them when men are coming in there raping your children because you're not there. Why don't you be a real man and take care of your children, or get some self-help? Stop eating all the chicken. Stop eating Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's the problem. Stop eating chicken, period. Some of you need to man up. Don't go around calling yourself alpha. I don't have a problem with you until you start delegating yourself as alphas. You aren't. There isn't a man alive that's an alpha that would take from a woman and be okay with it. Okay? You're a gamma, because betas don't even do that. I would prefer a beta over you. I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah, they're eating all this chicken and they have these false no. Zero. Going around threatening to stick their wands. I mean, your wand wouldn't even work. Your wand wouldn't even work for me. You'd be scared. Y'all talk a lot of smack. Y'all be scared. Those are the first guys that get up in your mix and they be like, "Oh, I don't know why it doesn't work. It always works." No, because you are not around a real woman, because you're not a real man. Y'all need to get up on it. Stop taking money from women. Y'all men need to be stronger. We need strong alpha males that will build, that will secure our villages. These are men that will put their lives on the line for their family. They will stand in front of a bullet for their family. We don't have many of those anymore, but we need to create them. So women, you need to start breeding healthy alphas. Now that we are to say, so you need to start mating with men that have some resources and that are healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually. If he does not have that, he's not ready to mate. The problem is you have too many women opening their legs, their yonis, to men that aren't quantified to create children. To be in between your Stargate, to have access, he has to earn that. He has to earn that privilege. You won't see anyone who could say they've seen that. You know why? Because it's an earned privilege. Stop opening up, because you giving all these pseudo alphas. You're giving them like false hope. You're like beefing them up. You're like beefing them up to think that they are what they're not. Stop it already, young sea stars. Stop giving them anything. They'll start begging. They'll start doing a little bit better. And if they aren't going to uphold themselves to a healthier standard, then leave them alone. Because a lot of you are giving them too much, credence. And they're walking around here with their chest puffed out like they're doing something. A wand, sticking your wand, anybody could do that. You could buy a wand in the store. You need to come with more than that. That's why real women rather be alive. I agree. It's really, we have to have higher standards, because you should hear sea stars what they do. You should hear the threats. You should hear the threats that they. Especially, I don't know why the Hebrew Israelites will keep coming for me. "Oh, Fleurbron, if you had a real man, I would just take you. I wouldn't even let you talk online. That's why you're not with a woman like me." You know why? Because the mate I'm with isn't worried about any male out here, because he knows he got me on lock. I could talk out here with my bosoms of mass destruction. He knows that there isn't a man that could do anything to make me waver. That's what I'm talking about. That's alpha. He knows that I could sit on here however I want, however he isn't threatened by you. He got something for you too if you try to come and try to disrespect his mate. Best believe that. Okay, so I'm sorry. Wands of mass destruction. What do you say? Stop breeding with racists and jungleistic is going off. I'm just saying, sea stars. You gotta and I'm talking to my young sea stars because I know a lot of you. Are very. You're just very green, and I get it. And some of these men talk really, really amazing. You have now it's different. You have a lot of these gentlemen who are studying. They know a lot of information, and they're going deep into the occult. That does not make them someone who's good. Vet them out. Look at his father's dynamics. What kind of family did he come from? A lot of you don't even know their blood type. You shouldn't even be mating with him if you don't know his blood type. He could be some kind of draconian. He could be some sort of low breed reptilian. Why even mate with him? You said it. Your boobs of mass destruction. I'm saying, why mate with him? We got to talk about that because we have draconians. Listen, we have all these males locked up in the prison system. And let me speak to the males. There's a lot of males locked up in the prison system. And it's really sad because, some of the things you don't realize from those who, even I have to ask questions to people who know more. You have these young boys who are locked up with animals. Listen to me, mothers who give birth to sons. You have these young boys going into juvenile facilities with animals. These are not even the same species. They are geoengineering animals, a species that is meant to basically feed and do target practice on your sons and daughters. They disseminate them inside of these prison systems, and they utilize your children as target practice. You need to stop giving them your children. Let them make sure you are the first love and progenitor of everything they know, even if you have to sit home. I'm tired of people saying, oh, well, she's at home with her children. What does she do? I stayed home with my babies. You know what I did? I made sure they eat well in the morning. I make sure that anything that they need, they have access to me. Those are the things. So if you aren't ready for that kind of commitment, then stay away from having children. Don't have sex. I'm literally going to talk to you like some of the other people. Don't have sex. You know what I mean? If you aren't responsible enough to mate with someone who you potentially could have a child with, you shouldn't be having sex at all. Because a lot of these young men are being bred unmindfully by young mothers or mothers that are overstressed and overtaxed. And these young boys aren't getting the necessary training by other males, because males the pseudo alpha males who we're talking about, they strong viral males, leave the household. So these young males don't have healthy progenitors or healthy males to show them and to train them how to be positive, successful males. It isn't healthy. Take them and you cultivate them. Disallow any of these monsters from getting your babies, because they go into the system and they're eaten up alive by these draconians, these dark fielded beings. There are demons inside of these facilities, demons eating these babies up, destroying their minds, raping young boys. And then you wonder why we have all of these little boys coming out with really interesting sexual propensities, because they've been damaged and they've been cultivated into having very unnatural sexual fetishes because they've been raped every night by a draconian bastard. We're going to have to take control, our sea stars. We got this. Any male that comes through my portal or your portal should be amazing. You have so much more information than before. We will create healthier males. But for the males that are here, for the alphas that do truly exist, please hold your post, because we require you. We require you for our sanity. We require you for protection, and we require you to know and recognize what men really represent. We're good with you. There hasn't been a healthy alpha that I've ever encountered that wasn't respectful, that wasn't honoring, that could see me and be attracted to me, and there wouldn't be ever a violation. I wouldn't even know that he was attracted to me because he was always respectful, and he honored the female that was probably sleeping at home who he loved and wanted to go home with. So it didn't matter how attractive he was to me. He had to prioritize his family because that meant so much more to him than another woman outside of his home. We need to start giving ourselves more credit and credence, and also protecting our stargates, sea stars. Close your stargates. If they don't earn it, they shouldn't have access to it. You shouldn't allow them to portal in with their wands in your stargate until they earn that privilege. And if they want to go to thottery.bot 3.1, if he wants to go to thoughtbot 3.1, let him go to her, because she's the venom of mass destruction. She will destroy his pockets. She will destroy his mind, and he would deserve it. So if he doesn't have the good mind to honor a decent woman that has healthy disposition, who can nurture and give birth to healthy children, and all he's concerned about is Thoughtbot 3.1, 3.2, let him be. She's doing you a favor. I give big up to the Thoughtbots. Where are all my thotteries? We need to disseminate some you Thoughtbots more. You Thoughtbots, help us out. Every time a Thoughtbot takes your piece of work out of your house, you should give her honor. You should actually make a shrine for the thotteries. They're taking all of the garbage out. We may not be able to take the garbage out, but we got thotteries that'll do it. Let the Thoughtbots take your piece of work, because she will give him exactly what he deserves. She will give him everything that he was not deserving of. Let the thotteries release the thotteries. Everything has a use in this world. I had a young sea star crying. She was like, oh, he met her on Instagram. She had these pictures and bikinis. I said, oh, did he really? Guess what? Come to find out, he went and chased the Instagram Thoughtbot 3.5. And when he went to go sleep with this Thoughtbot 3.5, it wasn't a Thoughtbot female, it was a Thoughtbot male. And he got a surprise in a package when he went to go do his deed with him. So let him go. Let him go. If he's so torn and so swayed by thotterism, by all means, let him go. I'm going to make a church for you thotteries. My mother used to teach me, not all that glitters is gold. So if he's so easily directed and he can't even pick up the frequency of what's male or female, and he's so easily driven in another direction, that means you just got released from a prison sentence. Oh my gosh. It's like, didn't you see the video? You even saw the video with allegedly with Nature Not having oral sex with the transsexual. Well, it looked, she was a female, but she had a wand, and he was allegedly giving oral sex, and it was a picture and video coming out. I'm just saying, females, if that isn't what you desire, then you need to be with men that have higher standards and some integrity. And if they're so easily to walk off with a girl with a bigger butt or with bigger boobs, or she's wears more makeup and mass destruction, if he's so waverly, or men, if you're with a woman who's so easily motivated by a man with more money, or a man who's, is more abusive to her, let him go. I don't understand. I celebrated when my Nazi, when my Nazi was out the house, I had a celebration. I should have had a party. I was celebrating. Celebrate. What are you upset? Be thankful. Don't cry. What are you crying? Dry your eyes, my beautiful sun stars and sea stars. When your Thoughtbot, disseminator who's attracted to Thoughtbots, when they leave, you should be smiling. Freedom feels not even freedom, just being free from that kind of diabolical behavior. Who wants to sleep next to somebody who's so weak? That's weak. Weak men can't control themselves, my beautiful sea stars. Weak women can't control themselves. So if you have somebody who's so weak, do you want a weak partner doing a pole shift? That bot and your ex are going down on the Titanic. They didn't listen to the cues. They weren't trying to be down with you. Let the universe get rid of your garbage for you, because best believe you need somebody strong, integrity ridden about you and about the goal and being a unit, more in unity conscious. A person who is about you, friendship-wise, they can't ever leave you. They can't stop talking to you. Anybody who stops talking to me, I'll be like, peace. And you know why it rarely happens? Because I'm so good to people. But if they do it, I know that that's a gift. Why? Why would you question it? Let him go. Let him go. Wasn't Tequila singing that the other day? Let him go. Yeah, let him go. I'm sorry. How did I get on this topic? Who got me? What happened? I just went left. What was I talking about? The prison system? Oh, I was talking about alphas. I'm sorry. Please put a like in the video. What time is this? Like 1:00 in the morning. Please put a like in a video if you're coming up for the shenanigans. The people in the bushes are like, oh, she's lost it. Oh, this is the moment. Let's screen record it. Oh, I'm okay. Okay, so let's go back into the discussion. No, I went on a tangent with the alphas, because some of the alphas are these pseudo alphas are out of control. And I could just imagine a young lady or a young man who doesn't know any better, who's swayed by the lies and the manipulation of these beings who study all day. All they do is study to manipulate you. They're truly narcissists, sociopathic, and I doubt they're even human. Most of them are draconians, and they're narcissists by the nature of them just being of another species. So you just need to oh, she's looking at the screen like, how did she know? Yeah, I'm just saying, you just have to be mindful of the people, the company you keep. Listen, it's better to keep saying, listen, we're sitting here together. We're having a good time getting intel, enjoying each other's company. Many of you know each other, talk to each other here. This is a sense of relief and camaraderie. I'm about unity consciousness. I'm trying to be around those who are like and very similar in frequency so that I can raise my children with that kind of beautiful abode of community. I grew up like that, and I'm going to create that in a higher way. So when we sit here together and we jive together, we're matching frequencies. Even in the very things that we do and talk about, you don't realize it makes it easier when I do the meetups. And this is another thing, when I do meetups, it's so easy for me to meet you. You know why? Because we're already fielded our energy together, so we match. So I won't be able to meet anyone if they're not of the same frequency. I rarely have to stop meeting someone. People will have trouble coming to me if I emit a certain frequency. So I know by the nature of who I represent and how I am, that if you're able to meet me, then it means that you're matching my frequency. If there's always a problem with you coming within my, and I'm not saying that thebomb.com, but I'm a pretty healthy person, and I'm a good person. I shouldn't say good. I'm a decent person. Good isn't a good word you shouldn't use that word. I'm a decent person, meaning that I emit a healthy frequency. So if you're able to come in my mix, it just means that we're matching. If you're not, I don't get mad at it. I just say it's not meant to be. I mean, you need an alpha man. All of you need. Listen, if we had that, what do you think they do? Why do you think they get men that are healthy and strong? The issue is there are alpha men that are born, but they're not cultivated. Okay, so we have alpha men that are born, but they aren't cultivated, because you have an entire social system set up to either lock them up if they act too strong and aggressive. How many fathers are taken to jail for protecting their wives and children? How many fathers may knock a guy out and maybe kill him because he tried to rape his daughter and so on? You hear that all the time. So then it intimidates. It's just like MK Ultra Day, Martin Luther King Day. Don't be too righteous because you're going to get murdered, right? So that's what they do with these alpha, kind of like the alphabet alpha, ex-mayors. They get these alphas and they make sure that the alphas that are acting strong and protective, they martyr them. So they'll put a father who's going to protect his wife because maybe she was being raped or somebody was attacking the house or maybe somebody did something to his child and he may hurt them or beat them up so badly and they'll martyr him. And then you'll see other alphas like saying, he doesn't want to go to jail. He doesn't want to go through that because they martyr him. So then you do that, or you have strong alpha little boys being born in households where the father has decided to dip out and the mother isn't able to necessarily cultivate him properly because maybe she's dealing with sadness. That's why I say, mothers, you can raise an alpha if you're happy or if you're healthy and if you're stable. But if you're always mourning and you're always in self-loathing, you will ruin an alpha male because alphas need to be cultivated in strong, healthy environments. That's how they thrive. They need to be secure so they can be strong, so he can grow strong, feel confident, and also have a loving heart, be very giving, very generous. A lot of these men are not generous. And if they're generous, it's because they want something for you. That isn't very male-like. That's actually very female-like. When men are expecting to get something in return for something that they do for you, that's very female. We're cultivating males that are very female-like. Okay? This is the problem. So, it isn't that you give something that you should expect something in return. If you give, it should be from the point of giving, not to get kudos, not to get credit, not to, perpetually use it to exchange and do things like that. That's very negative. And a lot of males nowadays, because of the cultivation of ruining them and fluorinating their brains and giving them too much estrogen, they have this very non-male like how they socialize. It's very sad. It's very sad. And I just tell you, mamas, you are the ultimate love. An alpha that has a loving mother who bats for him will raise a beautiful boy. She doesn't need a male necessarily. It's great to have a father figure. I always say I love the family more than anything else, but she could raise a healthy male if she loves herself and she's strong. But if she's always, stressed and so on, this can ruin alphas and they'll end up going to the prison system and being eaten up by draconians, and losing their soul to draconian systems. So, all right, I've gone too far. I've gone left. How do I get in these conversations? Sometimes I just, I'm like a typical Sag, and sometimes I try to veer off of Sagittarianism. Your ex-Nazi has an awful mother. Well, yeah, I told you, the mother was insidious and still is. The mother of my Nazi is insidious. Just very, because remember, the fruit doesn't fall very far from the tree. So if the tree is sick, the fruit is going to be sick. So it's, it's crazy. We just have to do better and try better. And if we don't know, it's okay that now and that we have a better way of instituting healthy behavior with ourselves and with our children. But by all means, if anyone doesn't have children here, if you aren't ready for the commitment or the love of a lifetime, it's a love of a lifetime. I love I met my daughters when I birthed them. It's the love of a lifetime. I haven't loved anything more than my daughters and it's more love than I've ever known and I will ever know. It's so beautiful. But it's scary, beautiful, and everything. It's a commitment that is so beyond. If you aren't ready for that kind of commitment, don't have children. It is something that will it could bring you to your knees in seconds. It is the most beautiful position to be in, but the most frightening at the same time. Okay? It is amazing. So I say, if you aren't ready, if you don't know the blood type, if you don't know the type of person you're mating with, that isn't something you should engage with. And they shouldn't have access to your Stargate, because he will put graveyards in your womb. If he's not trying to have children with you, by all means, you shouldn't have him inside of you. Okay? That's a big girl talk. He has to make that commitment before. If he likes you and you like him, you should be okay to make children. That's what we're meant to do. The sex is having the actual form of sex, real sex, not masturbation, Not all this extra stuff we do is recreation. The actual sex is between male and female, and it is to produce children and offspring. I sound so like Christian, right? It's not a Christian answer. It's just nature. And if that isn't what you want to do, you shouldn't be engaged in sexual behavior, because that is a natural behavior between man and female that wants to have children. Okay. But people are having sex, anal sex, all kinds of, things, y'all are engaged in all kinds of things with zero commitment. If he's not committed to you, you shouldn't have sex. If she's not committed to you, you shouldn't have sex. If they can't bring forth life and support it and love it and honor it and with integrity, you shouldn't have sex with them. That's my opinion. Well, no, if you're in menopause, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the actual act of sex, If you're in menopause, you've already engaged in that. But I'm saying the act of sex. This is a conversation people get upset about because that is what it is. We are progenitors of life. The reason why we have physical contact in that way is to produce children. That is the reason we're supposed to do it. That's why Goddess allowed us to women to look like flowers. I look at some of you beautiful flowers, you women, naturally. Oh my gosh, you look like beauty. You're beauties. You're gorgeous. You're like lovely. Who wouldn't want to mate with you? This is what I'm saying. I see many of you. You're beautiful. That's the incentive. That's nature making males have the incentive to want to mate with you. Your phenotype, your skin, your nose, your pudgy nose, your thinner lips, your thicker lips, your coily hair. Those are all Goddess created to make you appeasing to males. And then they smell your pheromones. They look at your beautiful body, and then they want to engage with you and they want to replicate that because they think it's so beautiful. They want to create more of you. They want to create more of you beautiful flowers. That's beautiful. There isn't anything wrong with that. We've lost sight of that. We do all these weird, chaotic things and we don't even love each other anymore. It's the life. Lesbians. Why are we talking lesbian? If you're a lesbian, then you want to enjoy sex with your female or your female counterpart. Let's not get into the whole concept of same-sex relationship. People have sex how they have sex, however they have sex. But I said the actual act of sex. Let's get into the actual act of sex was an incentive for people to procreate them, to replicate themselves. That's what the act was created for. We don't want to go. When you start make sure you aren't getting hypersensitive into things that have to do with our choices in doing sex or our feelings of having sex with same sex or otherwise. That has nothing to do with it. Same sex that cannot produce children. That's all it is. That's just a fact. So it isn't necessary that you may not want to have children. So you may want to have sex. Two females may want to have sex. And that's the way they're engaged. Two males may want to have sex. That's the way they want to engage. It isn't a criticism to you, but it is a fact that having sex is made to create children. That's all it is. How we engage in sex, we just, it's like the Wild Wild West. I'm somebody who has sex. So I'm just saying, if you having sex, you choosing to have it how you want to, but the actual act itself was to create children. And I would prefer you have loving sex than hateful sex. It is crazy you're talking about this. Your ex texted you the other day in months telling me she is having a daughter in April. Crazy you're on the topic. Oh, wow. Wait, she's having a daughter telling me she's having your daughter in April? Oh, wow. Congratulations, Morpheus. Aw, you're having a little girl? Congratulations. I think that's amazing. I think it's beautiful. And I know you'll be a good daddy. Congratulations. She said she's having a baby. This isn't saying it's beautiful. And try not to be angry with her. Give her support and give her love. That's your baby girl. And the fact that you have a life growing inside of her. And most people don't realize, the best sex is loving sex. But most people don't realize when a mother gets pregnant, there's a lot of pregnant mommies on here, right? Oh, what'd you say? Yeah, but I did this. I did not want this. She's a draconian. Well, see, this Morpheus, this is what I talk about. That's why I say whoever you sleep with has to be somebody you want to have children with. This is one of the most important things I say. Whoever you sleep with has to be somebody you see as a mother, or if you sleep with someone, you have to see them as a father of your child. This is why, and I know it's very hard because a lot of times, you know, you may be attracted to someone and it may be based in more of the lower chakras, like the base. But the fact of the matter is, if you're engaged with them, but you're past that now, and a beautiful baby girl will come from this. There are many family on here who are Draconian, half Draconian. So they know what that is. You just, you know, be supportive, love the little girl. She's come from you. She's come from beautiful you. And that means she's part of you. And cultivate her and love her. You know, that's your baby. Okay, so congratulations. I hope she's healthy. I hope she loves her daddy. Remember, I was a daddy's girl. So you'd be surprised how that little baby will love you. She'll give you hugs and kisses and she'll make everything right. Just let her be. Let her love you. And be appeasing to the mother so that she can let the baby girl be with you, and let her know that you're a divine father and that she'll always be safe in your hands, which I know she will be. Beautiful. It's a blessing to have a baby, because a lot of people struggle with that. And, you know, I was going to say at the same time that I was saying that a lot of us who get pregnant with the males, we fall more in love. Like, it's very difficult for a female. Many of you on here, it's very difficult for a female who's pregnant by a man to want to sleep with another man. We have a natural feeling inside of us to make us want to, as soon as we get pregnant by that male, we have a weird, at least with me and a lot of my girlfriends, we have a weird propensity to only want to be around him. I remember only wanted to be around the male I'm pregnant for the father of my children. I loved being in his presence. Like, for some reason, I was connected to him gene-wise. So that's why I say it's very important for you to only make that decision to be with someone who you see as the father or mother of your child. It's what I tell you guys to do all the time. And you think that I'm old-fashioned. Oh, Fleur Brune, that's not. Why? Why are you having sex with people that you wouldn't see as a parent? That's artificial. That's unnatural. That actually makes you unnatural. Back in the days, we only would have sexual relationships with people we wanted to have children with. Now you're telling me that you're having sex with people that you don't even like. That says something a lot about how our psyche is. Because if you don't like them, you shouldn't want to have sex with them. It's just what it is. And I think a lot of the unwanted children wouldn't come if we chose from a rightful, healthy disposition, a very healthy disposition, and we had sex from us, a heightened sense of self-awareness. Okay? Anybody that I would lie and allow in my Stargate, I'm okay having his children. Anybody, listen to me, family, anybody that I'm okay lying with, I'm okay having his children. Anybody. If I want him to have access to me, I would have his children. Okay? So just love the babies, you know what I'm saying? And have more strength, sea stars. Do y'all do sex magic? Just wording? Sex magic? Kyle? What are you talking about? I agree, future. Yeah, people need to be evenly, you know, when Christians talk about evenly yoked, a lot of chaotic children come from very hateful, kind of non-alchemical relationships. You know, you got to be careful with that. I love the babies. I love all babies. I love all babies. I love them. I love them. Love them. I kiss them. Before I had my babies, I was the ultimate auntie. Everybody would bring the babies over my house because they knew I was protective and I wasn't out on the street being a thoterism. So, you know, I really appreciate it. My mother was the same. You just have to be very, very mindful, family. And I don't do this to judge anyone. I just tell you, you know, this is like common sense conversation. This is like your auntie that comes to the house who gives you a conversation. If you tonight, let me talk to the people. Should I talk to the thoteries? Let me talk to the thought bots, because I know you're on here in the bushes. Let me talk to the thought bots. Thoteries. If you are going tonight to have sex, a mass destruction, let me just add something to it. Is the person that you're going to go see tonight or tomorrow, Friday night, and you're going to go smash, what they call it, smash, bone, whatever the terms you guys use, is this person someone that you could see as your husband or wife in the future? I'm just asking. Is this somebody, if you slept with him and his wand could be big and massive and he does all kinds of smash and bad dash and whatever he does, is this the type of man you could see as the father of your children? Would he be loving to you while you're pregnant? Can you see him giving you hugs and kisses and rubbing your back when you're 5 to 6 months pregnant? Can you see him being in the labor room with you, being supportive, being loving, being excited, being happy, and bringing that baby forth with such beautiful anticipation? Can you see the man that you're about to smash this weekend, tomorrow, today, whatever? Can you see him being that with you? If any of those answers was no or negative, you need to reestablish some self-love and reconsider mating with someone who you know wouldn't be righteous to you and your child. Okay? That's an easy way that you can kind of just vet out. You could tell if men are selfish. If he isn't taking you and he doesn't care about your nourishment, like, my mate likes to buy me cherries. He knows I love cherries. He always makes sure I'm hydrated. If I'm getting flustered, he makes sure I'm good. You know what I mean? Your mate has to be catering to you and loving. Just care about your well-being. If they aren't caring about you, like you're hungry and they don't say, baby, you want to go get something to eat? Or you're thirsty or tired and they say, hey, honey, you want to stay home? You want me to stay home with you? You want to make sure you're okay? Or they don't check on you? Or they're always asking from you what they aren't capable of giving to you? That's somebody that's a parasite, okay? Probably a sociopath, probably a future Nazi, okay? Learn from some of my mistakes. Learn from me, okay? If he isn't that type of person, or she isn't that type of person, for a gentleman, if she's not the type of person and you took her out and she's not calling you when you're sick, you say you don't feel well and she's not calling to check on you. If she's not the type of person that, whenever you're overworked or overtaxed, she's saying, you know what, hon, let's just chill out. Okay. If she's not the type of one when she knows it's your mother's birthday and you forgot to buy a card and she doesn't go get the card for you or remind you, even though she remembers, and she's not that type of person. Is she the type of person that only comes around when you have extra money and only shows up when you buy her things or when you offer her things, or if you don't have any money, she doesn't show up? Okay, so if she does any of those things, you need to reevaluate your self-esteem. Okay? Because if she's only around when you can give her something and she isn't giving any love, any nourishment, any support to you, Sunstar, this isn't somebody that you should choose to be around, and she will be a dastardly mother, and she'll create selfish children like herself. Selfish mothers create selfish children, and you will have a life of depreciation if you impregnate her. Okay, so this is just, y'all could say, oh, Flora, you just listen. I've been about that life. I married a Nazi. He was the most abusive person in the world, the whole wide world, and still is. I'm telling you from my experience. Do you want to go through that? It was very harmful. It was very harmful to my peace of mind. I didn't love myself. Okay, people tell me, oh, you're such a pretty girl. When I didn't love myself. Halle Berry got beat up all the time. She didn't love herself, right? Who else? All these women who use envy, that it happens all the time. Okay. So I'm just, I'm giving you a little bit of, I'm coming as real as possible. Just be better than me. Okay. Make better decisions, because a lot of times what happens is you go and lie with that person and you create a baby, and then you want to go to, Planned Parenthood to murder your child. And then they're taking your child's organs, they're taking your fetus without your knowledge, and they're selling it and utilizing stem cells and creating super soldiers. You don't want to hear me say that to you, right? Because that bothers you. How many times do women get abortions and don't even know where their cells and where their genomes are going and being lent to? Nobody wants to hear that, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Planned Parenthood was selling babies, aborted baby fetuses to companies that you don't even know which companies they were. They never even told us the specific companies, private owned companies. Where were those babies coming from? How are they able to create super soldiers? Where are they getting the genomes from? Okay, because many girls are going and making poor decisions and mating, and then thinking that they want to kill part of themselves because they made poor decisions. It's very sad. Make better decisions. And I'm not talking to the choir. I'm not talking at you. I'm talking to you, because remember me, I'm grown. I've seen it, been there, all that. Wrote the book, read the book, everything. Okay? Coca-Cola, Pepsi, everything. All right? So let's be better. And for all you mommies, more seasoned mommies, some of the elders on here, teach the babies, teach the young ones. When I say babies, you guys who are in your teens, you learn from here. Sometimes your moms won't tell you. I'm the crazy aunt online who will tell you. I'm the auntie who will tell you the truth without hurting you and giving you love in the meanwhile. I feel this goes both ways. There's many men who can manipulate. Absolutely. The women they're with for whatever they can gain. Yes, there's absolutely. Yes, the men, would you say the men? Oh, absolutely. It's men and women. Oh, narcissism doesn't have a sex. Sociopathic behavior. Draconians don't have a sex. And listen, this is it's an equal opportunist of sociopaths out here. Okay, so yes, I agree. But I'm just, I just say, sometimes the sea stars see myself, they see me as them. So I talk to them a lot of times. The sun stars already know. You have Thoughtbots 3.1. You have Thoughtbots 2.2. I've seen them on Instagram. The young lady whose boyfriend left her for an Instagram model ended up being with a man. He didn't even know it was a man. He was crying bloody murder. So this is what I'm saying. You got to be careful. The men who are open and receptive to that type of receptivity to visuals only without knowing someone. There's so many. I didn't even know how many filters is on there's like 50 million filters on Instagram. Okay, so you have women showing their bodies, doing all kinds of, taking poses, and they're not who you think they are. Just because she looks a certain way. Remember, plastic surgery is getting cheaper and cheaper. Plastic surgery is like buying candy out of listen, it's like a dime a dozen. To find a good woman who's healthy, that's like a gem. You know what I'm saying? Thoughtbots are everywhere. They're like replicants. They're like clones of clones of clones. Thoughtbots are basically clones. They look alike. All of them have the same makeup. I can't even tell the difference anymore. They're doing the same makeup tutorial. You ever seen them doing makeup? They all look alike. Getting injections in their lips at like 19 is sick. It's a sick world. Come on now. If you're susceptible as a sun star to thotteries on Instagram, then by all means, you deserve whatever thottery has. She has a gift for you, sun stars, and it might be an extra tool and a wand. So you thought you just had a wand to the table? She might have an extra wand for you. Keep running out there. Yeah, you will get a gift. And it may not be an extra wand. It might be an STD, a sexually transmitted demon that stays with you for life. Keep messing around with these thotteries, 3.5, 5.6, 4.3. Okay. Any woman who sits up there and takes degrading pictures of herself all day and puts it out there like that, do know that whatever you do like that, maybe there's something going on inside that's not right, because why is she obsessing with just this? Does she read books? Is she a college student? Does she love her mother? Does she have good relationships with her father? How do you know that on a picture? Thottery 3.5, 5.6. Oh, they're sexy. I've seen them. Woo! They are beautiful. I mean, they're the best that Mac and L'Oreal have to give them. What is it? They have what is this? Hold on. I have this light thing, my little one. Oh, my little one gave me lights. Oh, I got my lights back. There I go. I'm going to rainbow. They're music. Listen. Oh, I like my lights. It looks like I have ears on. Okay, there it goes. Yeah, you just have to be mindful, family. It's not to judge anyone, because you know what I'm saying. I'm a thickums. I got thickums. I told you I'm thick. I'm thick for the apocalypse. Okay, so I guess my conversation's over. I've talked to you guys all. So let's just do a recap real quick before I go. Hoes make us loving, kind. Wait, wait. Someone said something like, how come it went so fast? It was an interesting share. Somebody just had a share and it just disappeared. Somebody said hoes something. I thought that was interesting. Okay, I couldn't read it if you wrote it. Check their feet. This is not to demonize anyone. Let's go back in the topic. So anyway, this intel, for those who came in a little late, I would like for you to check the prison system to see where it is in ratio to you. It's good that we kind of diverge from the topic just a little bit so that maybe it's not as, noticeable. But make sure you look at the prison system wise, because I got some intel that something may pop off. Texas, again, you are red on the list. I personally think it has to do with what's going on in Virginia. So please look, do your due diligence. I read it off earlier. If you want to go back, if you just came later, go back and see some of the cities that I named. It's very important for you to do that. They have geoengineered a specific type of species, a draconian super soldier. And this is what I know is intel. And they're purposefully going to disseminate and unleash them when everything caves over. And there is a Mongol who's utilizing this moment to create a toppling over effect by suing a specific Mississippi jail for the unrightful death of one of the inmates, which is a noble cause, but there's always an agenda, and it will cause fear to trickle into the privatized prison system, and that will cause a toppling over to making system that was already undermanned and overtaxed become more, because you're going to start to see some of them close down and fear of being sued. Okay, so that's going to cause something. So I just say, if you live anywhere from 20 to 30 miles away, this is something that you need to note. Okay, look at where your closest prison systems or jails are, see where you are in ratio compared to that. And that's important. Also, we know that the Xinhuas are now on high alert abroad. We do know that the Chinese New Year's, Xinhua New Year's is coming. The New Year's is coming, family, and there will be the most traveling of Xinhuas worldwide. And I know that's why they disseminated this League of Doom virus, coronavirus. It isn't the coronavirus, it's probably something else. They are going to unleash it. That's why they did it so timely, because they knew that the Chinese New Year's is coming up and that there would be so much travel to different cities, different towns, and a collection of people in small, or a collection of large groups of people. And that makes for a wonderful petri dish of infections. So a lot of people will be smashed together in close proximity with some people who've been injected with this viral, I told you, walking bioweapons, walking around disseminating viruses by breathing, touching, and coughing in those areas. And you take people that are normally isolated in their own zones and bring them in a collective surrounding, you're going to have an interesting occurrence. It's already gotten a lot of people. They're not giving the full amount of numbers. So make sure that you have done your due diligence. We talk about this on Instagram. Have your own arsenal of keeping your immune system up. It's very easy. If you have a compromised immune system, I would say now this is a time maybe to fast a little bit, reset your system to get it to a healthier standard, so that if anything comes up, you will always have, your system being able to, because remember, especially if you have enough steerage, like Flurburn, you can fast for a couple of days just to clear your system, reset it, to make your immune system kind of boosted up a little bit. Again, you can look on my Instagram, look at the pictures. We talk about this a lot. Do that. What else? And make sure you are avoiding hand sanitizers. Again, I've talked about that. I don't know what I've talked about here on Instagram, but hand sanitizers. Remember, when you kill off all the guys on your hand, good guys and bad guys, it takes less time for the bad guys to collect and longer time for the good guys to recollect on your hands. So if you know this, and this is something that many of us know in the holistic community, always want to wash your hands with just soap and water. Okay, that's better than putting alcohol on your hands, killing off good guys. It takes too long for good guys to reestablish themselves, and then you have a whole bunch of bad guys that have now created a happy homeostasis on your body. Okay, there's bacteria all over, and it's okay because you're supposed to get bacteria. It helps you build up your antibodies. Urine therapy, I know it works. I know people do urine therapy sometimes. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people do urine therapy, and I know it works. It isn't something that I've done, and I haven't been motivated to do, but I've been trained to do it, especially during my prepping years. We were taught how to properly institute urine therapy, and also with the old-fashioned Aboriginal way to store the menses. So in order to heal wounds on yourself and your children, that's an old-fashioned Aboriginal. I know people get grossed out with that, but it was something I was trained to do, like the Aboriginal Bigatar Australian family. Aboriginal, some of the elder women have taught a few of us to how they were able to do long stouts of walkabouts, and they would save their menses dried in a pouch, and it would be able to heal wounds and other things if necessary. So this is something that if you've not researched, you should look into that as well. The AB originals, some people don't like when I say Aboriginals, the AB originals, okay, of Australia, our beautiful family from the bush in Australia. They have a lot of wonderful things that some of us have been gifted with information. I'm so grateful to have learned some of these traditional modalities that would be helpful during any time, not just strife, but any time. So it's beautiful. And I think we're good. So I think we learned about that. I talked about alphas. I went on a tangent about Martin Luther King. And let me apologize now, because you know they're going to come for me. Let me apologize now. Let me apologize to anyone I offended with Martin Luther King. I have my own personal thoughts on him and what he represents. And because of that, I just uphold my own way of engaging in the world with a healthy sense of purpose and also with truth. You know, I've decided to opt out of the lies and the propaganda of these holidays that they institute in order to create fear, victimhood, low self-esteem, Stockholm syndrome. These are the things that they do very often, you know. So rather than me participate in their rituals, I decide they have days off for these rituals. I do what I want to do without participating in their ritual. Okay. You know, and I'm looking forward to engaging in my own personal things that I decide to do, you know, holidays, and not even holidays, days that I celebrate with myself and my family. And I look forward to engage in celebrating New Year's, March 31st. I'm looking forward to celebrating New Year's, March 31st, which is spring solstice. That's really when New Year's begins. That's when you sow your seeds. Many of us are gardeners, so you know that we start getting excited. I get excited because I start trading seeds right before the season, and then I start planting. It's a big deal for us. I take a lot of time out to go in exchange for seeds. That's my New Year's. So I just try to do what I do. And do know that even when I share these things with you, by all means, the one thing that I will always tell you to do is vet out my information. Many of you did, and I love when you solidify, because I could be all kinds of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So if you think that I'm giving you information that isn't righteous or isn't true, by all means, research, and you take whatever truth you think that you agree with or that's cohesive with you. Okay? Sorry, family. I think I've went on a tangent. I'm sorry. I talked about thought bots. I didn't mean to end like that. Sometimes it's just talking. It's the natural flow of the talk and conversation. Sometimes I go left. So again, I always apologize if I offend anyone. You know, and I always tell you, if you're new to my channel, chances are you may be offended one way or another. Many of the family are used to it, and it isn't personal. It isn't meant for me to do it. Nothing I do is really personal because I don't know you guys personally like that. If it's personal, I'll say your name and it'll be personal. Thank you, Monica. Monica was the one who incited me with MK with Martin Luther King. Yeah, so like I said, if you're new to the channel, sometimes I'll do that. I'll talk about things that may be thought provoking, but sometimes it may just be a trigger, And like I said, you'll be used to it. It isn't personal. And many people even get mad at me. They come back later. They'll be like, that's just Fleur Broom. She'll talk. And it isn't ever from like hurtful. There isn't anything personal. I don't know many of you and I wouldn't want to hurt you. And that's why, I come and share these things. There isn't any agenda other than sharing. And many of you know me. If you've known me over the years, I've been here a long time on YouTube, just as a regular person. So I hope what I share is helpful and insightful. All right, family. It's wonderful when I'm tired. How long have we been on here? We've been on here over 2 hours. We've been in over 2 hours. Yeah. So I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm actually tired. Oh, it's good when I was sleeping. I was coming all fired up. Right. It's good to be seasoned on these streets, boy. It's like I said, it's on and popping, family. There's a lot going on. Stay woke, stay vigilant, stay prepared, but stay in unity consciousness. There isn't any reason to hate anyone right now. A house divided is a house that's vulnerable. A house together is a house that's powerful. Okay. So stay strong and stay out of their agenda. Be with, it's not about being with people who look like you. It's about being with people who are like you. Okay. All right, family, I'm out. I did it. I'm gone. It's like 2:00 in the morning. It's sad because I'm not really tired, but I'm just going to end up looking at catching up on some intel. All right. I love you, family. Have a masterful, amazing evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Peace.